to go. What do you think, Grace? You think the setup's good? Yeah. You think it's a good setup? So, like, I previously tried to make an ASCII webcam thing in a language lower level than JavaScript. Like, I was really trying to do it in C, and that shit wasn't working out. But in less than like 2 minutes with fucking DeepSeek, I created this. What you're looking at. This is entirely made vibe coding because conceptually, I understand how webcams work ish and how they interface with the browser. And it was just like I thought. Like, basically, I said, DeepSeek, give me a web page with a canvas and make this canvas render my webcam. And then apply an effect to the canvas after I confirmed that the webcam was working. Like, after that first iteration, I checked its result, right? And it was a good result. So I was like, okay, let's iterate on this result. So what you do is you say, DeepSeek, now that we got this working, I want you to apply an effect to the canvas such that it appears to be rendered with ASCII characters. It chose a set of characters to use, and you can even swap these out with other characters, just like in donut.c, right? And so the ultimate end goal being we're going to create a world where everybody's ASCII because text is the only truth that I know. It's the only thing that's really sustained me in a lot of ways. Like, for all of the stuff that I've gotten paid the most, it has been stuff involving programming. And I like typing on keyboards a lot. In a certain way, it almost doesn't even matter what it is that I'm typing. As long as I'm typing, I'm pretty happy. And there's a certain rhythm to what I would describe as like fun keyboard usage, right? Like, because of my hand situation, even though I have 5 fingers on my right hand, I only can type with the thumb. Oddly enough, the thumb somehow acts as my index finger on that hand. It also acts as the primary driver of the keyboard. So, like, if most people work in like index finger style hunt and peck keyboarding, um, I actually learned proper keyboarding when I was in middle school, right? Like ASDF, JKL, semicolon, home row shit, you know? Well, with my right hand situation, I can only put one finger over JKL semicolon, right? Like, in order for me to have my hands lay in a natural position, and then just like, go to town. I've only got one finger to work with. So that's a real fucking physical limitation that I have to live with. And a lot of my decision making, as far as computers, how I use the computer, a lot of things really lean on my situation, right? Like, there's a lot that people take for granted in using computers that they don't think about. And accessibility technology is one of my passions. Like, finding ways to make software more modular and more accessible as a result, because you can customize things to your liking, right? Like, a lot of developers do not think about this. A lot of developers do not give a shit about stuff like this. And I think that those developers are going to miss out big, not only in terms of like opportunities for creating like really useful and new things for people, but also because the march of time is cruel. And while we live in a very right-handed world, I think it's been very clear that modular software wins out over static design. And designers, even non-developers, are going to be needing to be aware of this concept. Being able to design software for both left and right-handed people, for instance. Like, let's come up with a real world example here. Like, I'm on fucking lecture mode right now. Take a look at the top left or top right of your window. In my case, the window X icon, like the thing that you would click to like exit a program or like close a window. In my case, that's in the top right. And to the left of it is a maximize button. To the left of that is a minus button. And then next to that, I've got another context menu. I got like 4 fucking buttons in my top right for this one window. And there's also an icon to the far left on the other side of the screen for OBS, right? And if I click on that, that pulls up the context menu as well. And if I double click the title bar, my window unmaximizes or maximizes depending on what your current state is. And this is all stuff that I can change. I'm able to go into a configuration in XFCE4 and move those if I so wanted, I'm sure. And if I can't, then I'm going to get into the software itself and find the place where that positioning code is located and see if I can't change it somehow in order to get it into a different location if I so desired. Because maybe I decide, I'm tired of these X's in the top right. I want them in the fucking top left. Or I want them in the fucking middle. It doesn't fucking matter where. Like, the freedom to move that around. Like, the bridge between the user and the developer is right here, right? It's like, sure, you could lock and force everyone into that decision. But then that's not freedom. And I think the point of software is to free us from the human condition, right? I don't know why I got on off that tear. I'm just really happy with this fucking webcam ASCII shit. This came out like fucking great. Is anyone in the chat yet? Are y'all taking notes? You better be. You better be taking notes on everything I say. Especially the important shit like that. Because it's going to be interesting finding the things that I'm willing to repeat because there's not a lot that I'm willing to repeat. But I've definitely made this point many times over the years. So I must actually care about, like, it's like if Steve Jobs gave a shit about, like, why software needs to, like, have a good user interface. And I think he was coming at it from more of a aesthetic perspective. Like, as far as I know on Windows and Mac, you have no freedom to move where that X button is in your window. Correct me if I'm wrong. But a lot of operating system ideas behind accessibility are just absolutely fucking pitiful. Where's my goddamn chat? I didn't fucking close it, did I? No, I didn't. Okay. What's good, Dulce? Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Time for the intro, and then let's get rolling on some shit.
Listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. Listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. You are now listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow.
No, the ASCII is actually all JavaScript. It's a browser page, single HTML page that I had DeepSeek shit out, and I mean I added it like as a browser like window to OBS if that's what you mean. But like I've been getting like real creative with like coming up with custom overlays that you can drop on top of a running OBS session because the version of OBS that I'm using lacks the actual browser plugin. So like the way that I achieved on-screen chat here is by actually just doing a window capture and then doing a color key filter on that window capture. Um, and similarly, the recent like overlay soundboard that I created operates in a similar fashion. The ASCII webcam that you see here is the result of a similar process. Although I didn't have to apply a color key on this. You just capture the browser window with the running ASCII cam viewer thing, which I'll put on GitHub. And all you have to do is just crop the window, like fit the size of the camera, and then you're good. Very straightforward and easy. But like, I recognize the importance of mental flexibility because it took a lot of thinking in like, first of all, I've never actually written JavaScript to interface with the webcam, but I knew it was possible. And I didn't know exactly how to do it. But I've gotten pretty good at this DeepSeek Aider type stuff. Shoutouts to Dulce for introducing me to Aider. Now, I'm going to go and get rolling. You probably won't hear me talking necessarily all that much. Yeah, I may or may not play some videos on in the background. Haven't really eaten yet, but haven't been hungry either. Just really finishing off coffee number 2. The days are hot here lately, so it's like not really all that inspiring to want to get up early. I'm still awake the same number of hours most people are. So here's where we're at currently. I have totally broken everything in the code base. And in the process, I am going to have to piece everything back together. No, Dark Mage, no, why did you do it? Because the recognizing the need for dynamic flexibility with regards to my data structures. The style of the code in terms of the flow of how one function leads into another, there's no problem there. Why I commented out as much as I did. Take a look at the recent pushes to the GitHub. A lot is commented out, and as you can see, all we have right now is a blue screen on the gameplay scene. I haven't deleted any code that isn't unnecessary. In other words, I cut off some of the cruft of things that will ultimately be changed in how they operate to begin with. I know I'm speaking in vague generalities. So let me cook, as they say. The best part of C++ is the STL. Hands down. The flexibility that it affords you is basically the same thing as Python's data structures. Very useful. Not that hard to use either. Once you kind of get past certain little nuances, such as the fact that if you have a heap allocated data structure that you define as a typedef struct in C, and you want to put as property on that struct an STL data structure such as an unordered map, you have to make that map pointer, because shit gets fucking blah. Like it just shit's a brick basically when you run seg faults, etc. This is because the way that it's interpreted is it thinks that it's on the heap. No, I mean, it thinks it's on the stack, sorry. But you can't have a stack allocated data structure inside of a heap allocated data structure. It like violates things at a certain level, and the compiler and the binary reject it. It's no bueno. However, what you can do is have a pointer to an STL data structure inside of a typedef struct, because in either case, whether or not that struct is allocated on the stack or the heap, you'll be able to access its property. So it doesn't really matter whether or not it's on the stack or the heap. Like, I could rewrite the entire game so that everything is on the stack, but that would take way too long. And I think I'll wait for like my next big checkpoint to like start a new project where I do that, because it could be fun and it might actually afford some sort of like optimization benefit, not having to like jump all over the place and just like do things from a certain point in the memory space. But I'm gonna read the chat one more time before I hop back over. Do I intend to just use Ray GUI? I actually don't plan on using Ray GUI at all. I am not even sure I knew it was a thing. There's a lot of extra Raylib stuff that I don't intend to use unless I have to. In other words, the way that I approach software development is that when I have a problem, I deal with the problem at that moment in time. And if it's something pretty easy to figure out on my own, where I can build my own thing to manage something, like for instance, the GUI stuff that I had rolling was totally hand rolled from stuff in Raylib. However, I know there are additional Ray packages, such as like I've used RLGL, which is actually pretty good, and I intend to do stuff with it for the 3D. Um, but like for instance, I think he's got like a texture packer and a couple other paid products. Um, but I try not to force myself down a particular stack so much as like figure out which pieces of the stack end up working for me. Because in many cases, one of my goals is to take as much ownership of this tech stack that I'm using as possible without too much reliance upon other things. At a certain point, you kind of accept that someone above you owns your universe that you operate in because you're operating off of their tech stack. And that's fine, you know? Like, there are limitations to our ability to do it ourselves. But at the same time, user interfaces are easy enough to draw on your own and manage on your own that I'm just like, why not do it myself? The particular use case that we're operating in, the default Raylib font actually looks really good. And I feel like I can use that because selecting fonts is also a problem. Like, as much as I like certain fonts, they fall under certain licenses, and I would have to kind of sift out like a font that like fits my use case. And in the future, I would not mind trying to make my own font, but it's also that kind of rabbit hole that's like, do I want to make a font or do I want to actually just put text on the screen and it doesn't really matter because that's something that can be changed later. And so oftentimes you have to select placeholders for what you're doing. And the placeholder that I have right here is a blue screen. This blue screen exists because I've commented a fuck ton of code out because I figured rather than try to like fix everything all at once, what would be faster is take what is fixed, comment out the things that are not fixed, and then start piecing things back together in order and see the opportunities where we can actually upgrade things. Um, it shouldn't take us very long to get back to where we are, but it's definitely not going to happen in one day. I'm waiting for the sun to go down before I can charge my car a little bit more so I can actually go to the store. But we have plenty of time until then. It is only 4:30. So Interesting. It won't properly render the or is it not updating? Oh, I think it's probably it's just not updating. We're gonna leave that in though. Erasing some more. So next would be the character creation menu. I would like to get this menu working just for, well, it's like I said, probably an issue in lit draw. Um, Oh, she loves snack time. Hey, no nano, god damn it. This fucking cat. He rushes to eat his own snacks because he likes Gracie's snacks. And he like steals them out of her fucking bowl. He's fucking brutal, dude. He's fucking asshole cat sometimes. It's like, well, I'm waiting for my dog to finish her snacks so that I can continue, and I gotta guard him from my 1 year old cat because she's 15 and blind, and he's a bit of an asshole. So that's going on for next another minute. But now I'm gonna be fixing my game's code base after I get some more coffee and I eat a few more of these yogurt pretzels. Cat's knocking over things on my table. And my dog has no, I don't have it that hard. I appreciate the thought, but it's all in the mind. Okay. Let's take a look see. God damn it, Nano. This motherfucker. Let's see. All right. He's looking around for more food. I think he knows that they're in this container on the table, but I also have my yogurt on top of it. I'm gonna move it to the kitchen here shortly. Um, yeah, I was trying to open them. Come on. Yeah, you've had enough. Ooh, it's pretty good for 70 in here. A little chilly willy. I guess eating that cold yogurt too. You have like no memory except for how good those treats and everything were. I put them in the cupboard so you can't get them. He's got an automatic feeder that's gonna go off in like an hour, an hour and 10 minutes. He can wait. He gets fed plenty. Don't worry. So does this one. We'll do our little OUT routine in a little bit, but now it's time to step this forward a bit. So set stat's not going to work because we haven't created the component yet, but we can at least get the character creation screen rolling. But the idea is going to be that like we won't render the gameplay scene yet until we can like have a bare minimum representation of a character. The mechanics of the game, I still have the code for everything, but it's not going to be a problem. So it's just going to be like a very patient step forward, repiece everything, and hopefully it won't take more than a few days. But I have to grind on and off stream. Doing this, I figure I might as well do a little bit on stream. So character creation over here is a structure that I've created containing these properties. Um, because um, because it's on stack. I mean, I'm declaring it as a stack variable. Maybe it needs to be a shared pointer as well. Uh-oh. Um, I don't know that I need to do this on that front. I mean, like, the implication being that if everything's set up properly, um, Nano, he is he's going bananas right now. He's got one of his toys that he think is a mouse that he pulled off of his tower, and he's been like batting it around. Like, I'll throw it at one end of the apartment, and he's literally hunting it right now. Like, he just dove bomb at it. Normally he does this at night. I don't know why he's getting like this during the middle of the day. This is uncharacteristic of him. Okay, we gotta draw text error and look raw. All right, that compiled. Okay, so enter. I had to press enter twice. Something's wrong with the logic. Uh, Oh yeah, because it's thinking the other thing is selected, but like for some reason the drawing won't update. Okay, so base is it's not updating. So one thing we need to get back in there is the debug panel. Nano, you are bananas. Look at the chat. Thank you. Appreciate that, David. Raj, if you haven't been following the channel, I've been programming for a very long time. This is the culmination of many, many, you know, like it's not a good time to ask because the game's not building all the way, but I've been programming for a very long time. Appreciate the encouragement. I do have some income, but I am always looking for more. So please consider supporting the channel. If you have any questions that you'd like answered or would like to see your name in the credits or develop a professional relationship with me where I could actually help support you in your own services, if you go to my website, there is a, I believe I have my LinkedIn where you can actually see my resume. I have interviewed with a number of the FANG companies, including Facebook, Google, Amazon, uh, Uber, um, Pandora, etc., etc. Okay. Ah, I said earlier one of the things I wanted to get back in is a debug panel, which is it would kind of honestly be helpful right now. Might get some more coffee. Be patient. Oh, good. We can uncomment this function finally. Okay. Mhm. There we go. Um, Naturally, it's not updating at the super high frame rate because of the way that I handle the frame dirty flag on and off. How in the game I'm able to optimize the frame draws so that we draw significantly less than 60 FPS, even though the game renders at 60 FPS. Um, as a CPU conservation technique. Now, interesting, it's not showing on the character creation screen. Okay, well, we got past the character creation screen, but for some reason it's not updating. Oh, because we never update it. That would explain it. And because we have seen gameplay commented out, it should still be blue screen when we, when we get to it. Okay, there we go. And it is properly rendering now. So that's pretty great. Um, There we go. Now, note, yeah, we still get that. That's fine. This is actually progress. As a test here, see if I can force the debug panel on for a moment. Nah, still blue screen. Um, Actually, I probably could force it like right here. No, maybe like right here. It has to come after all of this stuff, like the last thing. There we go. All right, beautiful. Could be a little bit bigger. A lot of that stuff would go away. But as an example of this is always one of the first things I do. Get a debug panel, right? This is going to be one of the quickest ways that you identify problems, especially in the beginning. I may not want to use a hard coded thing for um, how I'm doing the size of the the gray block that the text for the debug panel sits in. That's kind of like hard coded at the moment, but one of the problems with the way that Raylib's measure text function works is it really doesn't properly capture multi-line text. Oh yeah. See, okay, we're kind of hacking it together a more proper way. Um, one, two, three, four, five more. Hey, hang tight. We're gonna go out in a second. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. That's much better. All right, we'll leave this running for a moment. I'll be right back. We're gonna hop out, do a little pee pee. It is 5:20. Looks like it. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this debug window for a moment now that we know it all works, because it's going to come back in the actual gameplay scene window, which we will start off with not actually having much in there except the debug panel, but it'll be frame updating a lot less because it'll be operating under the frame dirty principle, where right now it's just kind of like raw drawing. You see where it says update below the frame count that's, going up real fast? It says 5 because we've only had real 5 updates to the frame, as in we've marked frame dirty that many times. So number of updates should ultimately be much less than the frame. So yeah, that all makes sense. Draw frame 2D. This is going to be a medium one. There's a lot in here that's going to be commented out for a while. And certainly how I used to do that stuff could be done a lot better. So at the moment, let's just stick with the debug panel and the draw version. All right, debug panel not showing up. It's probably because the screen is not being marked dirty in our gameplay loop. So Whoa, careful. Okay, so this function is what we have been using to do like kind of a marking of the frame dirtiness. Oh yeah, but then we do this. So we should just do a frame dirty for the whole thing on that animation speed. Um, update sprites post. Yeah. We're not creating any new entities using the spawn loop yet. That's actually what the dirty entities is really meant for. It's using the dirty entity system. We keep track of like the last entity that we created a sprite for, and like the most recently created sprite that lib logic is instantiated. Because if there's a difference between those two, then it ends up that you have to instantiate sprites for those new entities that have not yet had their sprites brought into existence yet. Because I feel like just about anybody can get sprites on the screen and manage them when the program starts. But it's another question to like figure out how do you handle like creating sprites later in the program and managing them at that point, right? Like, and the game's been running for 30 minutes and you still have to create new sprites or something like that. Wait, create us. Oh yeah, because we call handle dirty. Yeah, see, we're not ready for this yet. There we go. That's the kind of updating I was looking for. I didn't mean to close it. Damn it. See in the top left, it says 60 FPS. And you see that the frames and the updates are not moving at 60 FPS. That's because they're locked to a particular sub iteration of that. And as a result of it being slower than I realized, because I don't necessarily need real time frame by frame updates, I could probably get away with like only updating frame on so many frames or like needing to like redraw it every so many frames. So I implement some caching using render textures, and this enables me to do things that way. If the dungeon is indeed successfully created, we should be able to render it. There's no. Oh, shit. I could swear I actually called what we needed to add that stuff. Good thing I had that in there. Oh, that's interesting. Dungeon 87. It's capacity 4, right? Oh, is it because it's like adding it to the 4? Oh, no, 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 no. We see we 27. Yeah, see, we don't want to do initial capacity. We want to do like empty. Because this is violating our assumptions about like what's currently in the dungeon at certain points. If you decide that you have an upper cap on how many things you want to put in another thing, that might be good. But in this case, like it's kind of free form right now. Okay, see now it no longer crashes, but it's not rendering anything. Saw that cat jump up. Ah. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, it's not drawing anything because all the tiles are just as I thought. They're all set to none. Not a problem. We'll figure that out. First, let me hook my baby up with something to eat. There we go. That's what we want to see. But it's, yeah, the frame rate's lagging hard as fuck because of all that output. Frame rate's not hyper fantastic either. Probably due to something that I'm doing. DF create. Width height. What? Yeah, what was having a thought. That happened. Hmm. Floor on. I think in lib logic in it. Oh, 256 is kind of big. A big swath. What the hell? That's weird. I mean, I'm pretty much telling it to render the whole thing, but I don't know what's going on here. That's real curious. Oh no. What the huh? Oh, it's because of the call to the create room. Um, and then it's accidentally going out of bounds in certain places. That's much better. Let's get the zoom going too. I think after Zoom, I could probably consider taking a break. Should be pretty easy. All right. The two holes should be the upstairs and downstairs that it assigns, right? Tile and knit. Oh, it resets the visible to false. That's why. Okay, okay. Yep, look at that. There's our downstairs. And there's I forget which is which actually. One of them's downstairs, the other's upstairs. Right. Oh, this is actually running at full speed. It's always going to be marked dirty in camera mode. So if I move out of camera mode, like for instance, right now it's updated like this, but if I hit B while we're in camera mode, it goes full speed. But then I get back to regular rendering. Huh. Once we're in camera mode, like not registering our inputs anymore. Oh, it's because we haven't handled control mode player. Okay, this is exactly what I expect. And actually, this is kind of better than it was in the old setup. In the old setup, it was actually doing the dirty marking for even when the camera updated. But I kind of like this better. So that's also a win. Slow and steady wins the race. All right, we've been on for a while, right? I like the setup. This looks pretty clean. So we will continue onward with this whole stuff after a short break. By short break, I mean probably all for today, but we will get back to it real soon. Thank you for your support, everybody. Until next time, take it easy.